Today I want to show you 3 ways in which you as an online English teacher can increase your income. So the first way in which you can increase your income is making sure that you are the best teacher for every student and the best employee for every company. I remember a few years ago when I just started doing interviews for online schools, I would spend hours upon hours preparing for these interviews, becoming way more animated than I would naturally be. And I remember there was one specific interview where all of this preparation really paid off for me. I was invited to an interview for a school based in Vietnam. And so I put in the hours, prepared everything I needed to prepare, jumped onto the interview. There were 2 of us being interviewed for positions with this company. Once we went through all the questions about background and experience, we were given the opportunity to do a mock lesson aimed at a young child with very basic English. I was nominated to go first, and so I went and I gave it 120% during this mock lesson. After I finished, the other candidate went, did her mock lesson, and as we were about to finish up the interview, the interviewer asked me to stick around for about 5 minutes afterwards, which I ended up doing. And she actually ended up offering me a higher position in the company. She told me, you can still have the teaching position you applied for, but we also want to offer you a position with our company where they wanted me to live stream 2 lessons per week on their YouTube channel to about between 600 and 800 students at a time. And they were offering me $36 per hour to teach those live stream lessons. And that's all because I gave them something that they were not expecting, but that they realized they needed. Another similar story like that, I started working for a company based in Japan, teaching mostly business English, and so there was a group of English students coming in from a big corporate company based in Japan, and so started teaching them my first few lessons for the company. After about 3 to 4 months, we finished up the training with a specific group, and I was contacted by the CEO via email, and he said that he wanted to have a meeting with me. For me, as a beginner teacher at that point, I was super nervous. I thought I was going to be fired. Maybe I said or did something wrong, and my days with this specific company were numbered. Well, I joined the meeting, and he ended up telling me that in the feedback from this specific group of business English students, my name kept popping up. People were saying, I loved my lessons with Zander. I want to keep learning with Zander. And the CEO actually ended up offering me a semi-permanent position with this company for curriculum development and some other tasks, which actually gave me a fairly steady bunch of income on a monthly basis. And both of those things, the live stream lessons and the curriculum development, are both things that I'm still doing up until this day. And they both came from me having a mentality where I was going to put it or give it 120%, and I was going to give my students and the companies that I worked for more than what they expected. And so that's number 1 of how you can increase your income as an online teacher. Now, the second way in which you can increase your income as an online English teacher is by simply increasing your hourly rate. Now, this only applies to teachers teaching on freelance platforms like Preply, italki, ClassGap, Amazing Talker, or any of the other freelance platforms. Now, there are 3 criteria that I normally use to determine whether a student is ready for an hourly rate increase. Number 1 is you must have been teaching this student for a period of at least 3 to 6 months. If you haven't, don't even consider increasing your hourly rate. Criteria number 2 is, does the student like your approach as a teacher? And criteria number 3 is, does the student actually like you? Because if a student only likes your approach, that's really easy to replace and find another teacher with the same approach. But if the student likes your approach and they like you, that's tough to replace, which means if you request an hourly rate increase, they're way more likely to accept that increase compared to someone who only likes your approach. So when I've decided that my student passes all of these 3 criteria, step number 1 is I would send them a feedback form just to ask a bit of feedback about their experience of taking lessons with me. Feedback on things like lesson quality, preparedness of the teacher, lesson materials, quality of feedback, and many other things. One of the things that I ask feedback on is the hourly rate that they pay. I ask them, do they think it's too little? Do they think it's just right? Or do they think it's too much? And then depending on the feedback, I would send them a rate increase request. I never enforce a rate increase. I always request it via a letter. The third and final way in which you can increase your income as an online English teacher is by designing and creating lesson materials or other programs and resources that you can sell to other online English teachers. I remember about 2 years ago, I came up with a program that I called Living Your Life in English for 21 days. I sold it to my students, which more than doubled the number of bookings they were taking with me during that period. And at the end of running that program, I realized, why not sell this and make it available to other teachers? There are several sites online where you can sell your own lesson plans. One of those examples is Teachers Pay Teachers. But even on Facebook groups, you can sell your materials or programs that you have created. I remember in my first month of advertising this program, this Living Your Life in English for 21 days, the first month I started advertising this, I made about $500 only in that first month. Maybe you have some other ideas about how you have increased your income as an online English teacher. Feel free to share those ideas with us in the comment section. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit the subscribe button. If you enjoyed the content in this video, hit the like button, and we'll see you on the next one.